Hi everyone, welcome to part 1 of making Rick's portal gun. We're making this from readily available items. CVS facial cleanser 16 ounce, a type 10 antique bulb, 3 4-inch glow sticks, and a spick and span scouring brush. For tools, I'm using a Dremel rotary tool, a hot glue gun, pliers, screwdriver, a box cutter, and a pocket knife. There are some other things we're going to need, but those will come in part 2 of the series. We're going to start with removing the label. I've emptied out the contents and I filled this with hot water. Now I've also left it soaking in hot water. The label should be soft. I've already removed the reverse side. As you can see, it's pretty clean. And you're gonna just start in one corner and just peel very slowly. Very, very slowly. Just work your way up and down the label so you don't tear any part of it and leave any residue behind, because that's just a pain in the butt to get off. Just work your way around real slow. And when it comes off, it's nice and clean, so you can still feel a little bit of residue. You just wipe that off. It's not as bad as having to scrape off any part of the sticker. Okay, this is probably going to be the messiest part of the whole thing. We're going to take apart this bulb. We're going to remove the base and get the interior part out so that we can use this as the tube on top of the portal gun. Alright, so you're going to take your pliers and get this bottom part off. You're going to start with the little copper connector, or just work your way around it, get in there and start using the pliers to work the edges up, and you'll be able to remove it. Use a glove, at least on the hand that's holding the bulb, in case you squeeze too hard and break it. And make sure you use newspapers so you don't get glass all over your surface that you're working on. Probably would be a good idea to wear goggles, just in case you break anything, you don't have shards of glass flying in your eyes. Alright, we're getting there. We're getting there. Alright, come on. There we are. Okay, so that's off now. Okay, that's out. We are just gonna get in there. There we go. There it is. Hopefully you guys will have better luck doing this. Trick is trying not to squeeze too hard on the bulb part so you don't cut your hands. There we are. Alright, so now we're in here. Let's start yanking on the filaments. Probably just going to need to... What you want to do also here in this part, make sure that you're holding it upright so you don't break the glass in the tube and get glass flecks all over it and get it all yucky, if you will. It's a technical term. Might need to get a flathead screwdriver. That might work better. But nope, it worked. Here we are. There we go. It's a little feisty, but in the end, metal beats glass. Again, resist the urge to turn it upside down. Come on, baby. You know, if I wasn't doing this for a video, it would have come right out. But that's the way it is. Okay, let's see if I can yank it out. There we are. There it is. So now, as you can see, empty tube right on top. It's gonna look real nice. Alright, so here we have the fun part. We're gonna start using power tools. Alright, so I've got my Dremel 4000. I've used it to make steampunk Nerf guns, pretty much just doing a lot of sanding with it. I don't really do a lot of cutting. I've used it to sand some frames down so I can repurpose them. But that's going to change today because we're going to cut. We're going to cut, if you can see here, the threads. There's one stage here, and here's the second stage of the stem that holds the plunger so that you can spray the facial cleanser. So we're going to cut right there so we have this little bit of it's thicker plastic right there, so it's good when we use the spick and span scouring sponge. We're going to use that as a handle. We're just going to insert it in there. Okay, so this is a power tool, so please be safe. Alright, if you guys are using a saw, you can use a little hacksaw. It's a lot easier, I guess, if you don't have a Dremel. Wear a mask because this is going to spray plastic all over the place and you don't want plastic in your lungs. The trick is try not to just really quickly chop your way through it because you're going to make a bunch of rough edges and you might cut into the base that you want to keep. So just make small cuts. Don't turn it up too high. Mine goes all the way to 35. I don't need 35 to cut plastic. Definitely not. I'm going to keep it at 15, probably somewhere between 15 and 10. Don't need it to be that fast. Alright, mask back on. You should also use eye protection. I just don't have it with me, and I'm not going to get up right now. Alright, as you can see, we're going to have, well, we have plastic all over us, and this shit could have been in our lungs. Sorry for swearing. But this could have been in our lungs, so we don't want that. That's why you wear a mask, people. Alright? And you put plenty of newspaper down so you don't ruin your surfaces. I have this antique desk, and really I should be working on something else, not this desk. But it's just the easiest thing to do right now. Alright, so now that we've got this on, I'm going to sand this down. There's still a little bit of water on the inside, and that's okay. And we're going to cut the handle next. Alright, we'll be back. Okay, so in the last segment, we cut the neck off what's going to be the body of the portal gun. We're going to have to sand here, but that's going to come later. We have the spick and span scouring brush. This is going to be the handle of the portal gun. So depending on the size of your hand and how comfortable you feel, most people like to grip it, leaving the orange bit open. I like to use the actual orange bit as part of the handle. So I can rest my thumb right here. And I'm just going to cut here at the base because I want to leave quite a bit of handle inside for support. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove this spongy part. There's a release here. Slide it off. Now you have a sponge for cleaning later on after you make your mess. And again, we're going to take a Dremel tool or a rotary tool if you don't have a Dremel, hacksaw, whatever it is that you have. Again, gloves for safety, mask so you don't breathe in plastic. And you don't need it, if you're using a rotary tool, you don't need it to be on a high speed. It just gonna make it harder to control because this plastic is pretty thin and you just want to make a nice smooth cut. And again, this part doesn't really matter if it's square or not because you're just gonna, this is gonna be mostly inside the body of the portal gun. All right. All right. As you can see, that was fairly painless. Doesn't matter if you get stuff inside. You can either remove the back end, and this is going to be painted anyway, so whatever's inside, whatever's clouding it up, don't worry about it. So that's going to go in here. As you can see, it fits in pretty perfectly, and you can just kind of force it in there a little bit too because there's enough give. Alright, and as you can already see, we've already got a pretty good base. Okay, back to the boring stuff. No more cutting. So what we're going to do is we're going to measure the placement of the tube for the portal gun. So luckily my sister sews, so I have a fabric tape measure which comes in handy because these metal ones are kind of a pain in the ass when things are curved. Now I'm going to measure the widest part of the bottle, and I get to a measurement of 4. And as you can already see, I've already made a half mark. It's easy if you take it and measure and use the seam where they put the plastic together. Okay, so we have about 4 inches. So 2. We're going to take it and we're just going to make a mark, which you'll be able to, I mean, you're going to start with 1, but it doesn't matter where you go, because you're going to have paint all over this thing once it's over. And we're going to cut the front anyway too, to use our put in our glow stick barrels. Alright, so we just make a little mark indicating the middle. Now we're going to have to place this far enough down, probably somewhere around this area here, to insert our tube. The tube is going to be supported by the bottle itself, so that will give us a little bit more play room when we cut. One thing to remember that this is a type 10 bulb that's going to be 1¼ inches in diameter. So when you make your cut, keep that in mind. Okay, so now again, drop my tape measure. I'm going to try and keep to that middle using that guide. So there's also these little ridges here which are handy right now. So I'm just going to use those and come up with the middle. Okay, keeping in mind that we did have 4, so we have 2. As long as we keep the 2 somewhere visibly in the middle, we should be okay. Alright, we don't want to go too far back. That should be an ample space for the LCD. So here we are. And we are just going to go ahead and make a line. And then just make a cross. Alright. So once we're there, we're going to cut. So unfortunately, Dremels don't come with a routing tool, or they don't make a rotary tool for the Dremel that's wider than ½ inch. So what we're going to do is we're going to measure out 1½ inch and we're going to cut into the plastic. Now we're going to cut into the plastic in a cross so that we can push the tube through. And the tube will be in there supported by the plastic and at the bottom by the metal. So here we are. We're going to take, it has to be 1¼ diameter, so what we're going to do is we're going to go from, each of these we know is 1/8 inch, so 1¼ is 8/8, and 1/4 would be 2/8, so it's 10/8 total, so we have to count 5 lines on either side so that we can create the proper dimensions for the cuts. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and as you can see, perfect. So we go the other way. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. Okay. So now we know we have to cut across here to there, and from here to there. So back to the fun stuff. All right. So safety first, everyone. Remember, this is plastic. So masks. And since you're handling a power tool, you should probably wear a glove, at least on the hand that's holding down what you're cutting. Okay. And so that I don't ruin the rest of it, I'm going to remove the handle, get a good grip on it, and I'm probably going to amp this up a little bit. Let's go to 15. Okay, that's one clean cut all the way through. Can't get my finger in there, but you'll have to take my word for it. Alright. Now what we're going to do is we're going to cut again. As you can see, the star pattern or asterisk pattern coming up. Don't want to stick my finger in there for this one. Okay, that should probably be enough. Viola. Alright. As you can see, our portal gun is looking pretty snazzy right now, and we haven't even done a lot of the work. We still haven't made it look like anything but a couple of plastic pieces and a tube. Alright, we can kind of force this down a little bit more if we wanted to, but I want to be able to clean and paint and sand first. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this is where this part of the series ends.